In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your thermostat housing on your Ford Taurus. It's located under the hood, below your airbox. Okay, we're going to use an 8mm socket and an extension, and we're going to loosen our hold-down bolt. Reach down there, and you take the hold-down out. I'm going to use an 8mm socket. We're going to start by taking off our negative battery terminal. Put that off to the side, and then we're going to take off our positive battery terminal. Put that off to the side as well. Now we're ready to take our battery out. Now that we've taken the battery out, we are going to take our battery hold-down tray out as well. You're going to use a 10mm socket, and you're going to loosen up these 4 bolts. And now we're going to pull these away, take that harness out of there, and you got to pull down on the airbox. There's a little spike poking in there, and you got to pull it away from that in order to get this battery hold down out. You might need a screwdriver in there. Now we can put that off to the side as well. You're going to use a flathead screwdriver, and you're going to lift your fuse box out of the way by pushing in these tabs and pulling up at the same time. Set that off to the side gently. Okay, so we're going to take our cap off our reservoir, and we're going to go underneath and drain the radiator. Using a 5.5mm socket, I'm going to take out these 7 bolts. All right. As you can see, I had to spray some rust penetrant. If your car's rusty, you can do that too. And the last one over here. Okay, using a 5.5mm socket, you're going to take out this bolt on this side, and there's one on the other as well. Using an 8mm socket, we're going to take out this bolt and the one on the other far side, and then there's a 10mm for the middle. Might have to use some vice grips on that. All right, so this one's a 10mm socket. All right, so now we can take this down. Using a 19mm wrench, you're going to unscrew your radiator plug, and you're going to drain your coolant. Now that you have drained your radiator, you can close down the plug with a 19mm wrench. Disconnect the coolant temp sensor and take these off the valve covers just to get it out of the way. Place that over here. Next, I'm going to take off this hose. I'm going to use some locking pliers to squeeze my hose clamp. That way I can and wiggle your hose clamp down, the hose. Let that go. Next, you're going to grab hold of the hose and twist and pull. Again, we've already drained the coolant. There may be a little bit of coolant left in the system, so make sure you have a drip pan below in case. Okay, and then you can put that over there. We're going to be taking out 3 bolts using a 10mm socket. One on the bottom and these 2. So I'm going to start with the one on the bottom. These should not be very tight. Pretty easy to loosen typically. Okay, put that bolt off to the side. And our last one. All right, so now at this point, we're just going to pop it off. All right, so you're going to want to clean off the surface using plastic razor blade or something that does not gouge into the metal. Okay, so you can use like a plastic razor blade like this. Try to get in there. I like to put something in there so nothing goes in, so maybe a rag or something, clean rag. And then you can just work around, clean it up, make sure it's free of debris and old gasket. All right, so I'm going to take this out and put it in the new one. And now we're going to place it into where it lives. So you're going to put your gasket down. Never ever use silicone with a paper gasket. You don't need it. And now we're going to make sure our surface is nice and clean. Cleaned it off, and then we are going to line it up and start our bolts. I don't usually tighten right away, I just get them going. Once you got them hand tight, you can now get your torque wrench with your 10mm socket to tighten them up. All right, so now we're going to torque these to 108 inch-pounds or 9 foot-pounds. Go to the bottom one next. And the last bolt. I'll usually give it one more check around. Okay, that's good. Now we're ready to put our hose on. Gonna make sure that my wiring harness is up where it belongs. Now we can put our hose on. Go. Now we're going to reconnect our wiring harness and put the hold downs on the valve cover. I'll do that first, actually. Like that. All right, so now we're going to put a battery tray in. Line up our bolt holes. You have to put this back in there. It just clicks in. Like so. That looks good. I'm going to start these by hand, and then we'll tighten them down. Don't forget to put your air box in that little grommet there. Using a 10mm, we're going to tighten these down. Okay, but I would do a little bit more than wrist tight for those. Okay, so now we can snap our fuse box back in to our bracket. Make sure it's really in there. All right, so you're going to take your battery and you're going to gently place it in the plastic container. All right, so our battery hold down, there's two ways it could go, this way or this way. You want the step to be facing the battery because it holds the battery down by locking into the step on the battery. So you're going to wedge it between the battery and the plastic holder, and then you're going to thread your bolt into the plastic holder. So now we're going to take an 8mm socket and a long extension, and you're going to tighten that up. As you can see, the battery doesn't move. All right, so we're going to install our positive first. Use an 8mm socket to tighten it down. You can now move on to your negative. Push that down, 8mm socket again. Doesn't move. Tuck your wire away. All right, so we are going to put our splash shield up and stick it underneath the bumper. I'm going to try to line up all the different fastener holes with the bumper holes. All right, you want to get your middle screw statted first to hold up the rest. All right, and now you're just going to work your way around, getting these bolts in the clips. So you might have to stretch your bumper over to reach this one, just because it's all plastic we're dealing with. All right, so you're going to get this one in. These are easier when you get them hand started, because they kind of hold their place. All right, so now you're gonna put these in. Again, try to get them started by hand first, makes it easier. Now we can move on to our next one. All right, we had to replace our hardware due to some issues getting it off, so you can, by all means, use your old hardware if it still works. There's one here, and then there's one here. Now we can fill our radiator up from our container over here and take the cap off. All right, we've set up our funnel, ready to receive some coolant. I'm going to fill it up till max, and then we're going to start the car and let the system bleed itself. You're going to use the recommended coolant by the manufacturer. So keep filling the coolant until it no longer goes down, and then you get it till about halfway up your funnel. Then you're going to start the vehicle and let it run for a while, put the heat on. You're going to wait for the thermostat to open. When the engine gets hot enough, that's when that happens. The system will bleed, and then what's ever left in your funnel will go into the engine, into the radiator, and then you just top it off after it's hot. After you're done and your coolant is at the right level, it should say filled hot or filled cold. If your vehicle's hot, obviously fill it up to hot. Then you're going to put your cap on. And you can take it for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.